So here it is. It's in the About Us section of the U.S. Department of Education under Contacts, State Contacts. So if you click on that, you get all the 50 states. So if you're in Pennsylvania, just click on the state of Pennsylvania and voila, takes you to the State Department of Education, and then you click on their website, and there you go. So this is where you're going to find out everything there is to know about homeschooling laws, your rights as a home educator. They also tell you, and every state is so different, but they always usually have a point person. I have tried calling your point person in Pennsylvania, and it is very difficult. It's not just the state of Pennsylvania. Usually there's one point person who knows everything about homeschooling in every state. Well, guess what? I think they're super duper busy because they hardly ever pick up their phones. And yeah, so anyway, but you have me, so I'm your point person. So you can just, as easily as going into the search bar and looking up homeschooling laws, okay? I already actually have it up, but I'll just go ahead and use this, actually. And then we're going to go through, actually, the Pennsylvania laws. Here it is. Okay. So it's under home education and private tutoring. So just recently, they've included private tutoring as part of home education. So you can hire a private tutor, and it would be considered home education. Okay, so as you can tell, this is with every state. It can get complex. Okay, so here's the table of contents. Okay, I'm just going to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I'll tell you exactly what you need to know. I'll summarize this all for you. Okay, right here. First of all, I want you to know basically that you have rights. So the state of Pennsylvania, I consider it probably, and again, this is not legal advice. I'm just simply giving you my opinion and based on my research and Pennsylvania laws. It's not super duper strict in Pennsylvania, but definitely not, not a lot of freedom either. So it's kind of probably more in the middle, but definitely there are compliances that you need to consider. So this is a right. So basically, this is a right that you have. Private tutoring, they just added this. So it's considered as an educational option for home educators. So we're going to move on up. And I basically highlighted, and I'm going to give you this form as well, Erika. I've highlighted like the important things that you should look at. So they have all these little codes, but the decision to have a home education program in the state of Pennsylvania or a private tutoring program is a right. That is the most important thing. And that, see, a lot of parents don't realize they have rights. And so they don't even look at these non-traditional options because they don't even know that they have that right. Standardized tests are required. So in grades 3, 5, and 8, without exception. So yes, Kyle will need to be tested in these grades without exception. And so everything is done within your school district. They're kind of like your principal, basically. So Erika, are you familiar with your school district and kind of the rules and who's in charge? Or
I suppose, I mean, how to reach the superintendent's office and his local school that he went to.
Mm-hmm. So it would be in the school district, not necessarily superintendent, the state superintendent, but your school district. Yes, so in the state of Pennsylvania, they give a lot of weight to the school district that you're in. So that's kind of like your accountability, basically, is your school district. So you do have to withdraw, Kyle, by simply calling your school district office and letting them know that you are going to be home educating him. And so you will have to notify them. But before you notify them, go ahead and fill out this affidavit. Okay, it's basically a form. And it's right here. So this is a sample affidavit. And then the list of standardized tests are available on. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on here. And I'm going to go to page. Okay, let's go back. So sometimes these links don't work. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Department of Education. And rather than using that link, because obviously it wasn't working, I'm going to just type sample affidavit for homeschooling. Okay, so here we go. Elementary homeschool sample affidavit. So I click on it, and there you go. So you just simply print this out and fill it out. So affidavit is the supervisor of a home education program. And because Kyle is in elementary school, just fill this out. And I believe it's only a couple of pages. And then they need to sign and notarize it. So this is, you are the supervisor. I know that's the term that they use for the parent, because it could be a parent or a legal guardian. So they consider that a supervisor. So when you sign this, actually don't sign it until you're in front of a notary, and then you can contact the school district at that point, from that point on.
Okay.
That's your sample affidavit, very simple. And some of the things that you will need to attach is evidence of these vaccinations. Okay, and there are some exemptions for people like who have religious exemptions. So I don't know if that's you, but nonetheless, this you have to have attached evidence. So basically his immunization records. That needs to be included. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that is it.
So out, have it notarized, have his medical record, and then submit it to the school district.
School district.
And then go to his school or call them and have him withdrawn.
Mm-hmm. And so, but don't withdraw until you have this. So that kind of replaces your withdrawal. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, also in the state of Pennsylvania, you can use their curriculum. So ask them, do you have curriculum that I can use for free?
Okay.
They should allow you. Also, some of the things that you ought to know in Pennsylvania, he is eligible to go to the school of his choice in his school district for sports. So let me go back to that. If you're interested in sports or extracurricular activities, they have it pretty much spelled out in this guide. So keep that in mind. I just went ahead and I just downloaded it, but let me give you an idea of where to find that, because this is pretty lengthy. And where the required testing is as well, like the times of the year. I can't remember how many times during the year, but there does need to be an evaluation. He can use curriculum within, in the school district. You can ask them for curriculum that they use to teach his grade, and you have access to that. Every year thereafter, starting at, I believe it is August 1st, you need to reapply. So every year you need to reapply. And there also, there's yearly evaluations, and they're due by June 30th. And so again, parents must submit the immunization, health, and medical service records for their children to the school district. So include that with your affidavit. Curriculum, elementary levels. Pennsylvania has what's called, they were under Common Core. So you're familiar with Common Core standards, right? Okay, they're just kind of, requirements. Pennsylvania said, we're going to come up with our own. So they called it Pennsylvania Core Standards. I was reading the reviews, and they're really the same thing, except they just wanted to call it their own. And I'm sure they probably made some minor changes as well. But so what I would do, Erika, as you're considering, okay, what am I going to teach Kyle and making sure that he meets those state standards, I can almost guarantee you if you picked up a workbook at Costco, they will meet those state standards, for that particular grade level. You've seen them. You've seen those dummy books, for everything your third grader needs to know. All those books meet state standards, so you don't have to worry about it. Don't just try not to worry about it too much. But if you want to look at your state standards in Pennsylvania, certainly do so. And then just look at, for instance, so Pennsylvania core standards is what you guys call it. And here's a checklist actually. So it's download these free checklists to help you integrate Common Core state standards to your classroom. Even though Pennsylvania does not use Common Core, Pennsylvania calls it Pennsylvania Core state standards. But you know what? I can guarantee you again, if you meet core standards, Common Core standards, you've probably met all standards no matter what state you're in. I mean, they're all pretty much the same. Sometimes the states make it very difficult for us to understand this. I don't know why, but they do. But here they are. So, for instance, this is grade 1, okay? So they need to demonstrate understanding of the organization and basic features of print. Basically what they're saying is to recognize the distinguishing features of a sentence. So what that means is, do they know what's a noun, a verb, preposition? You know, maybe that's a little bit too difficult, but features of a sentence, a period, a capital letter, a small letter, a comma. And then this goes on and on. And so it keeps going through grade 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you just, summarize it in your own words. So what grade will Kyle be in? Third. So right here. So the requirement for Kyle under English, grade 3, is read with accuracy and fluency to support comprehension. So just make sure he understands what he's reading, basically. So read on level text with purpose and understanding. Read on level text orally with accuracy. So maybe have him read out loud in case you just one of those really you know what I would probably do if you're one of those types of moms that really wants to make sure they're getting it right. Print this out and put it in a notebook. That's it. Just print it out. Okay. So, Erika, I know I've kept you longer than necessary, but I wanted to be thorough. Any questions, Erika?
Just some of those dates that you were reading off. Is that going to be, are you sending me these links and stuff?
Yes, I will send these to you, and I will highlight those dates and the parts that I thought were important.
June 30th, your testing has to be done.
But actually, Erika, as far as your initial registration, it could be any time during the year. But just every year after, every year after that, it has to be August 1st. But you can start homeschooling anytime. And so again, you're homeschooling, you're registering your child to be under homeschool laws, but you don't necessarily have to do the teaching. You can use all those options that I mentioned to you. But what this does by registering your child is it's protecting you under homeschool laws. Okay, so how are you feeling, Erika?
Good. Yeah, really good. And I feel better actually now that I spoke to you and, got the information on the legal stuff, and I feel motivated more to return to homeschooling. I'm definitely excited about that. Well, I mean, I think the most informative for me again would be like just knowing and having the peace of mind now that on registering him, and then knowing to get that notarized, and then going to the school and withdrawing him, and don't withdraw him before I register him. So that was really very helpful, because that really has been like my biggest question. I've been, concerned with if I'm, going to do it right, or if I have enough time. So that right there was very helpful, and the affidavit and you sending all of that to me, that's priceless actually.